me. In your arms so tight, you let me know everything's alright. I'm hooked on a feeling.
He crushed it.
I'm high on
It's a grand slam.
that you're with me.
I'm telling you, it's time to party.
Lips as sweet as candy.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to SoxHub Podcast Episode 11, home of the third place Boston Red Sox. I'm your host, Brandon McAlery, and alongside me is the one, the only, the zesty lefty slinger himself, Trotty Too Hottie, a.k.a. Matt Trotta. How you doing?
You know how it be, Mac. Living the dream, running at God's speed. How about yourself, buddy?
Well, not too bad. Not too bad. Living the dream, some would say. Other days it feels like a nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
Today's kind of one of those days, I feel like.
Yeah, tough start to this Rays series that we got going on here.
Whoa. Jumping ahead over here.
Yeah, that's why my morale's a little low. For those of you listening, we're recording just after that Game 1 Tampa loss.
Yes, we are recording on Monday here, just because with the weekend, it was a long weekend for both of us. I think for everybody, too. It was also a boring weekend of baseball, if I do say so. Like the Nats, there's not much exciting about the Nats, whether we won, lost, whatever it was. We did get a series win. You know, if you guys want to stop listening now, you can. We did win 2 out of 3 in the series. But like Mother's Day with Sunday, shout out all the mothers. Love every single one of you. All of you deserve
indeed.
some love that day.
Hugs and kisses, mainly smooches.
What'd you do for Mother's Day? Anything exciting? Did you get your mom something nice?
Oh, yeah. I started my day with a little 11U baseball out in Rowley, Mass. With Coach Joshy and the Fighting Boys. They were rowdy. They split, but they won the weekend. Then I went over to Merrimack, New Hampshire to go visit my parents. Got my mom some nice, lovely flowers. And then a nice card. Went out to a nice Italian restaurant with her and my dad. Had a nice time. And there you go. How about yourself?
Absolutely thrilling Mother's Day, if you ask me.
Mm.
Me drove up to Western Mass. Shout out Western Mass, where I'm from, to go see my mother for Mother's Day with my beautiful wife. Went out to a nice restaurant for lunch. Handed my mom her Mother's Day gifts, and one of them, and this is the type of relationship my mother and I have, and it's way closer than probably most sons and mothers should ever have a relationship. That woman is my best friend. Might be a red flag for most women, but my wife got over it. If you have young ears, please block them for this part. But my Mother's Day gift to my mom is I got her a mug, and it goes, out of all the vaginas in the world, I'm glad I tumbled out of yours.
Jesus Christ, dude.
That woman was in tears laughing when she opened up that mug.
That's great. That's a great gift.
Oh, it was phenomenal. And then we gave her another one that was a bit of a surprise. So that was exciting to give her.
She gets that's a coffee cup.
Yep, a coffee mug.
Every morning, just gets to relive the joy of childbirth.
It wasn't. I'll tell you right now, my umbilical cord wrapped around my head, so like my head swelled up. It was not an easy one.
Oh, God bless you.
But honestly, shout out all the mothers out there. Truly, you're all wonderful, especially you baseball moms. You go through a lot with these kids to get us, especially us. You know, me and you, our moms are probably dropped us off at a lot of games, watched a lot of games. We're a big part of that, especially now that with travel baseball and stuff like that. They're out there like 4 to 6 games a weekend, spending their entire weekend traveling all over the goddamn New England, going to baseball games just to watch their team get mercied and their kid go 0 for 4 with 7 Ks somehow. And yet they are going to root them on and yell at that coach and hope that he's going to play shortstop and bat fourth. I'm just kidding. No, mothers are the best. It's the dads that are the worst.
Oh, yeah. Right.
what else was I going to say here to the weekend? So after this series, I kind of want to vibe check with you after this series because obviously it wasn't.
Sure.
We've been in a like a little bit of a rut lately offensively. Pitching obviously has kind of come back to earth to some extent here.
Yes
What's
and
your
no.
how are your vibes after this Washington National series, even though it was a series win?
Kind of meh. I mean, just as meh as it can get. We were really handed one of those games thanks to the idiocy of Victor Robles specifically. So I didn't really feel like that was a earned win necessarily. Yeah, we capitalized on mistakes that they made, but still, it was just we should have taken care of business. So it doesn't really give that much of a tickle, in all honesty. Like it's great that we were hovering just above 500 here, 21-19 after that series. Um, that's great, but man, it should be so much better than that, in my own personal opinion. We should have at least 24, 25 wins here, and we'd be looking a lot prettier going into this series, and I'd feel a lot more confident in our chances against the Rays here.
I agree with that statement. I mean, you texted it to me, but I agree with it more. Like we are treading water here, like treading water big time. Like after that series, I didn't feel great, spectacular, nothing. Like I feel like we had a scratch and claw for every single win that we
Yeah,
get, and as awesome as that is to see, because it shows a sense of fight in this team. At the same time, too, it gets real tiring. Like I would love like more 6-2 games. I really would, where we wouldn't have like we could just breathe a little bit. But like
yeah.
I wrote this in my notes for the games, but I it's a good time to talk about this now. I love a good pitcher's duel. Like I genuinely do. When you're watching dudes sequence pitches, how they're attacking hitters, the way they're tunneling certain pitches, and just that art of pitching, it truly is a very beautiful part of the game that people completely underestimate a lot of the time. And I love a good pitcher's duel. But I feel like every game the Red Sox get into is a goddamn pitcher's duel, and it's so frustrating because it's like we don't have the offense to come out on the other side of that. Like, and that's what absolutely makes this not fun to watch these pitching duels. It is the pitching staff goes out there day in, day out, series in, series out, pitches their nuts off. For the most part, lets up 3 earned runs or less. A few times we let up 5, 6 here and stuff like that. Some of that's because of the defense, whatever it may be. But like they pitch their balls off, and we just cannot support them. And it is frustrating because, to your point, we should be at 24, 25 wins, whatever it may be.
It is very frustrating, but I don't really see signs of frustration from the pitching staff here. I think that they're going to continue to do what they're going to do, and that is go out there and give on 3 out of 5 in the rotation quality starts each leg around. I think the bullpen is going to hold it down with a sub 2 ERA like they've been doing for the majority of the year as a group. It's more frustration throughout the at bats and the consistent failure for specific guys, and them building up is what my concern is. Uh, I see a lot of reality setting in a little bit with this group. It's nice when it's early on in the year, and we fall victim to that as fans a little bit of, oh, like there's a spark, we got a shot, it's awesome. And then eventually, I mean, it's 162 games. It's not like the NFL where we're playing an 18-week schedule here. It's a long season, and these numbers even out, and the stats end up becoming a little bit more at earth. And that's what we're seeing with this offense. Willie Abreu's hot, crazy run that he was on for a bit started to cool down quite a bit. Yeah, he's still taking good at bats. Don't get me wrong, but he's not batting 350, man. Like we can't expect that. We can't expect Jaron
Especially out of one
Duran.
player.
Exactly. Can't expect Jaron Duran to bat 315 plus and swipe 2 bags per series here. That's not realistic, man. We can't expect Rafi to be batting 425. You know, like we can't expect that. What I think we can expect though is this pitching staff to continue to do what they have been doing over the course of the last month, which has been 4 legs through the rotation. I think especially as these guys start to come back, we've already had Pavetta and Bayo come back. We have Whitlock coming back as well soon. As these guys come back healthier in the pitching staff, I think that we're going to start seeing a little bit more of that league average 3.5 ERA sort of stuff that we've been seeing over the last couple of outings from our starting rotation, based on how long they've been in the game. I think that will start to average out just a hair, but I think we're going to know every single time out what we're going to get, and that is anywhere between 0 and 4 earned runs from our pitching staff as a whole each game. And just that question mark is that offense
What's the offense going to give us?
Are we going to find 3 guys that are going to be relatively close on that batting order on that day that are going to pull something together and go combined, I don't know, like 4 for 12 with 2 doubles and 3 RBIs?
It's just like they haven't all gotten hot at the same time. Or even to your point, 2 or 3 of them really haven't gotten hot at the same time. Like it's been 1 or 2 guys here in different parts of the order that have been hot, and that's really it. Like we haven't seen 1 through 5 be able to actually smoke the ball. Like Connor Wong's hot right now. Great. That's it.
You look over the course of the last week or two with the Red Sox right now, and Wong's batting 364 the last 2 weeks. You have Reese McGuire the last week batting 333. Last 2 weeks, Rafi's batting just 300. He's cooled off a little bit from that like crazy 400 tear that he was on when he came back from injury. Romy Gonzalez last 2 weeks has been batting 300 with 1 run and a stolen base. Garrett Cooper has been figuring it out the last week with 308 batting average going into today with a home, with an RBI and a run. And then last but not least, little Rafi, Ceddanne Rafaela is batting 294 here in the last week with 3 RBIs. Granted, that 3 RBI number comes from that little lucky double that he hit, that ground rule double, but we'll take that all day.
Jumping ahead over here. I'm just kidding. I do have a note. I do have a note on him with that. But to your point that you said at the beginning of this whole thing is you feel like the pitching staff's not like frustrated with the offense just yet or whatever. But like, I feel like they are 2 separate units right now, and they're working very separately. Like the pitching staff is viewed as the pitching staff and the offense is viewed as the offense. Like we have the run prevention unit and the run prevention unit on offense because we can't score fucking runs.
No, we cannot.
Like it would be nice if I was gonna say it'd be nice if they turned into the run producing unit, but that just seems to not be the case right now. And I feel like they are working so separately. Like it would be okay if they were 2 separate entities working as one, but they are just 2 separate entities right now. One's doing like completely outperforming their metrics and pulling their weight. The other is not.
Big time, man. Something's got to change. You don't want to say it's get Casas healthy and back in the lineup, but what else is there?
We do miss that bat. All right, let's jump into the series. We'll get this over and out of the way, hopefully in the next 20, 30 minutes, because, again, it really was an exciting series. Let me flip my notebook here. Game 1, Friday, May 10th. We had a 5-1 loss. That was tough because Patrick Corbin was on the mound, and he is one of the worst pitchers in the MLB, and he absolutely just shoved it down our throats.
Like the last 3-4 years, dude. Last 3-4 years, he's been one of the worst, if not the worst, statistical arm in the league. And we got
It's been rough. And like what sucks too is we had 7 hits against him. We had 8 base runners against him. Scored a run. That's it.
Good. That's great.
Against Patrick Corbin. So that's good. Real quick, Houck went 7 innings pitched, 6 hits, 3 runs, 4 Ks, 1 walk. wasn't overly dominant, but also wasn't overly bad. Still pitched into the seventh and kind of grinded through a few things. And I think what we're seeing out of this pitching staff is a bit of maturity out of them. A lot of these guys, I mean, we've mentioned it before, but Cora said it after like the first month or something like that, like right after April or the first few weeks in April. And he's like, these guys have innings under their belt that they didn't have last year. So they're maturing. And like you're seeing these guys kind of grind out innings and at bats. And I love to see that. And especially with Houck, especially again, he's coming back to earth a little bit, but still pitching his balls off. One thing about Houck that I didn't realize until honestly I was playing MLB The Show and I unlocked like a Houck card, and Houck's delivery in the game is over his head, and I was like, wait, Houck doesn't go over his head. And then I looked back at video from last year. Last year he did go over his head. This year stopped doing that and is staying more here. And you said it on the broadcast, but it's obviously it's apparent now. But like it's just so much more repeatable with what he's done. He's just completely simplified his delivery.
Simplicity plays. Although, you go look at Hall of Fame pitchers. I forget the crazy stat, but don't quote me on this, but pretty sure it's like over 60% of Hall of Fame pitchers in the windup are over the head guys.
Really?
Yeah. But think
That's an
about it. A lot of
interesting
old
stat.
school deliveries, you have that over the head movement. Whether it's the double hand separating and then meeting over the head, or just the standard rockabye baby over it. It was pretty common.
Who's like the most prominent pitcher you can think of that went over the head like that?
The one for me is probably Daisuke. I mean, he would hold that there for a little bit. He would do like double, triple, quadruple pumps a little bit.
His starts felt like 4 hours long through 5 innings.
Yes, he would play those pumps. He took pride in those. So that reminds me of like something similar to like Nomar stepping out of the batter's box every other pitch and adjusting those batting gloves for 5 minutes and then stepping back in.
I can see that.
Something for just me, memorable. How about yourself?
For me, for some reason, I'm sure there's a million other that like could come to mind or whatever, but like Max Scherzer still just because he does it like religiously, but like here or like Nate
so
Eovaldi, like just here to right over the head and then breaks into it. I don't know, like that to me is very prominent. I'm trying to think of my youth and like there's just a million pitchers that go into mind and I'm like, I don't even remember if he actually went over his head or not.
Go look back. And you'll be surprised how many you see. We're doing it in our childhood still.
Oh,
I think recently it's been way downhill, but
I'm pretty sure I used to do it at one point when I was younger.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie. I used to mess around with that back in Little League. I would play around with which one was comfortable.
I love it. So top of the second inning here, game one. Lipscomb, whatever his name is, third baseman for the Nats. He singles, scores 2 runs, goes up 2-0. But right before that, I put this in my note just because watching the game through like a coaching lens, you see little things that excite you. But Eddie Rosario doubles down the right field line. Tyler O'Neill goes to get it, and he does what's called a K-step in the outfield. So he's approaching the ball from right to left, going towards the pesky pole area. And he gets around the ball, plants it with his right foot, comes up and fires. So as opposed to like fielding it and then like kind of turning around and like getting his body like accurate at that point, like he just completely gets around the ball, plants his right foot, gets his hip, shoulder, feet planted towards second base, and boom, fires a throw in and completely prevented a run from scoring. And a little K-step there. A lot of people will also call it the Mookie Betts throw, which he made in the 2018 playoffs. It was actually the same game, I'm pretty sure, that Benintendi made that diving catch to save the game. It was Altuve hit one down the line and he was going to second, and Mookie Betts went around, stepped, got it, threw it right to second base. And so some people call it the Mookie Betts throw, but I thought that was pretty cool. Like just seeing those little things right there. And I know I used to work in that with my outfielders a lot, was just like working on getting around the ball, beat the angle, plant with the right foot, depending on whether you're righty or lefty, obviously, and just being able to make that throw right to second base, right off your back foot, so you have a little bit of power behind it. But thought
Small
that was
thing
cool.
that makes the biggest difference.
That it certainly does. In this game, by the second inning, there was already 3 runners thrown out at home plate, and wild statistic. I'm sure people are gonna, crucify Huddy for this at third base for sending runners. Again, keep in mind, people, you got to make a perfect relay here. And I understand it's the big leagues, but not everything's perfect. It puts pressure on the defense to make plays. But I did note aggressive sends on both sides because we have
Correct.
Tyler O'Neill making janitor throws.
Duran throwing
and
a
whatnot,
guy out.
Duran throwing guy out. And each of them takes a perfect throw to make it. Like, I'm all about aggressive sends, to be honest with you. Like, if you get thrown out at home, that's my fault as a third base coach, not yours. You're listening to me.
Mm-hmm. All day.
I then wrote Romy Gonzalez is the third best player on this team behind Devers, Wong, and then Romy Gonzalez. I love the guy. Something about him. He's this year's Pablo Reyes. Like, just playing all over the infield, just hitting the ball, getting on base, stealing a few bases. He's just this year's Pablo Reyes. Big fan of him.
I like him a lot. He brings a lot of energy, brings a lot of grit to this team. Fits Red Sox personality, the way we play baseball around here, very well.
Amen. Amen. Top of the third comes around. Joey Meneses singles, 1 run scores. It is now 3-0. Not the best. Not the best. But Raffy, I said, equals the best third baseman in the league. Shut your whore mouse. There was a bunt down the third baseline, comes in, barehands it, sends a bullet to first base. His defense has just gotten
fantastic.
So much better. So much better. Like, and he's confident out there. It's like the same as like when you're on a hot streak at the plate and maybe you have an 11-game hit streak, you're just seeing the ball like a beach ball, as they like to say. I feel like the same thing goes for defense, where like you kind of feel like you are just perfect out there. Everything that comes your way, you're just gonna boom. And I love it. He's playing great defense.
He's shown a lot of growth and maturity this year over there in his time.
Mm-hmm. He sure has. I then said throat punch after throat punch after throat punch. Not even sure what that's referring to. Could have just been the fact that it was 3-0 already.
I'm gonna guess it was the quote unquote Fenway fly, what they called it on the broadcast. That double off the wall that would have been an out fly out at any other ballpark. It like skimmed the wall on its way down, and left fielder was tracked right under it, right on the warning track. I'm gonna guess it was that, because that right after that.
Oh yeah, because Duran like went up to go get it.
Yeah, and then Joey Meneses' slapdick single was right after that in the 3-4 hole. And it was
correct.
like 2 tough luck things right in a row. And we're like, dude, are we serious? That was all with 2 outs again. They had 6 2-out hits through 3 freaking innings versus Hauk. Like, what? Like, can't get your fucking break, dude.
That's tough. It is. And like that's just baseball sometimes, and that's what's frustrating is, you can send a bullet and make an out on it, and then you can hit a dinky little thing that is an out in 29 other ballparks, but ends up being a double at Fenway. And that's why we love Fenway, but it's also frustrating at times.
It's how you respond, man.
Yep. Duran is the king of ground outs to second base. I don't know. Like, I would love to look at like his blast motion numbers. And
Yoshida handed it off to him right when he went on the IL with the thumb ski.
He did the ceremonial passing of the ground outs to second base. Like, it's painful because I don't even know what it is I see in his swing, because there are times where he stays really tight, compact, and short to the ball. And when he's going, like, we say this about a lot of players, but it's true. Like, when he's going like left center gap as a lefty hitter, that's when you know he's feeling good. He's letting the ball get deeper. He's finding barrels and he's hitting line drives. But lately, he's just getting so disconnected and either rolling over his top hand or just whatever it may be, swinging early at off-speed pitches and just topping the ball right over to second base. And I understand he's fast and he puts pressure on the defense, but like it's just it's so frustrating to see.
Disconnected is a very good way to put it. Looks out of sequence.
Yep.
Out of rhythm.
I wrote Bob could have done that, and it was a double play by Cooper double by that's right, sorry. Garrett Cooper hits a double. Connor Wong scores to make it 3-1, and I said Bob could have done that. I
Done
miss Bob.
what?
Hit a double.
I reiterate, over
Have
the
I not
last
told you about this first
week.
base prospect in the minors?
Yes, you have. But this Garrett Cooper project has been going pretty well, and we'll get into the Dom Smith
Define
more a
well.
little later.
Dom Smith, I'm kind of good with. I
By
mean,
the
I know it's
numbers,
tough being
I'll take
a
308 the
platoon
last
guy.
week over 143.
Yeah, but he's not stealing bases. He's not bunting it. He's not playing outstanding defense like Bob was. Just saying. Like that double play in Atlanta, psh, Bob would have fucking made that. Just saying.
Yeah, I guess.
Um, this is something I've noticed, and I actually made it a note to talk about. Connor Wong, more than anybody in the entire league, stares at the fucking jumbotron after every single play when he's hitting, whether it is a hit, a strikeout, a ground out, fly out, whatever it may be. You watch him, and I guarantee you will notice this now. After every single ball in play and the play's dead, he's sitting there, and all you see on that NESN broadcast is his eyes. Just fucking glued. I don't know if this kid had a tablet put in front of him at 6 months old. Like, I don't know what his parents are like, but
Ooh,
like
piece of
this
candy.
kid, yeah, seriously, like I swear to God, he's just like
Squirrel.
staring right at the jumbotron to watch every single play. Like, I'm sure it could be like, oh, what happened there? Like, did I swing over the ball? I have no idea the baseball side of it, but he is the king of staring at the jumbotron, whatever the hell you want to call it, after every out.
You know what else he is? He's trying to do. He's
What's
trying to
that?
be the king at the best athlete on the team here. He's trying to give Durant a run for his money. There must be something internally in that clubhouse of like, whoever can do the most athletic thing tonight wins a cookie. Something. Because this guy is trying to find more unique ways to show off his athleticism. First off, remember that defensive play that he made that you were all googly eyed about? Oh, that
Mm-hmm.
little 360 smooth on the spin glove side. He just had a bunt for a base hit today in this game that we're talking about right now, game one of this national series. It's just this guy can do it all, man. He can get a hustle double just like Duran can. He's got to be one of the most, if not the most athletic catcher in the league right now.
Oh, hands down. Like I think I made this reference before, but he reminds me of like a young JT Realmuto who
Yeah, you did.
would go out and hit 10, 15 home runs, swipe you 10 to 20 bags or something like that, 15,
Mm-hmm.
20 bags, and have a decent batting average. And if that's what he turns into,
I'm
that guy's a pretty
perfectly
good
okay with that.
catcher. Just saying. But I think even Cora said it one time too. He's the most athletic player in the team besides Trevor Story.
Yeah, and that's saying a lot.
I mean, look at the kid. He's gone out there and played first base, second base. He's caught like whatever they ask out of him. He's like, sure, why not?
Yep,
And I love that.
I do too.
Again, this series not very exciting. So just to recap, that was the end of my notes there. Houck 7 innings pitch. Sorry,
You
go
want me
ahead.
to finish up?
Oh yeah, hit me.
All right. My next note after you here, because mine was, oh my God, Connor Wong isn't like in the running for athlete of the year on this team. He can even bunt for a base hit. What can't this guy do?
Sounds
Next
like
was,
Bob.
yep, right. Anyways, I believe in that same inning, T.O. Tyler O'Neill gets up with runners on base again, and he is the MVP in the majors with no one on base this year, or no one on base spots. But you flip flop that, and To is the LVP in the MLB in pressure spots or runners on base. We'll get in and dig into these stats a little later on. I have a nice little interesting take where I almost put on my coach's hat for it, because
Love it.
you and I both love To, and
Mhm.
I think that's pretty unanimous. But there's a little bit of frustration here with him building, not necessarily with us, with some fans around, from what I've seen on Twitter and everything. And I think there's a solution. But moving forward, they took out the starting pitcher here, and not a Nationals podcast, but Hunter Harvey was such a great get for their bullpen. He looks great out there and had an unbelievable scoreless inning.
Ironically enough, he used to be the number 2 prospect behind Dylan Bundy in the Baltimore Orioles organization.
Yes. Yeah, he started out as a starting pitcher for them, and he didn't really cut it out. They thought he was more of a bullpen guy, and he never really found his role there necessarily. But the Nationals are a perfect spot for him, and I can see him continuing to thrive throughout the year.
Their bullpen, though, I'm not gonna lie. We talked about it before coming into the series. Like, they got dudes that throw heat. There's one dude that I would have never expected. Like, I've heard his name. Obviously, I've seen him pitch, having an unbelievable year. Dylan Floro, and at the time of Game 1, I think had 18 innings pitched, 16 Ks, like 2 walks, and a .49 ERA, and was absolutely lights out this series. And I'm like, where the fuck, like. Because I think he pitched for the Dodgers, maybe, or Rays or something like that.
When you suck for a long time and you get high draft picks, normally you're going to have some good players that come up.
Not anymore.
That could happen.
I was going to say, just because of the lottery.
Yeah, true. Not anymore with that.
Like the White Sox I don't even think have a top 10 pick this year, and they are dead last.
Sucks to suck.
Oh
my God. More 2-out hits and action. Good job, Kenley. Why is he in this spot? Dude.
I think they just wanted him to get working.
Yeah, right. Let's look 2 games. Let's give it 10 minutes if he needed work. Dude, Coors Kenley compounds mistakes here like an 11-year-old. Expect nothing less from a future Hall of Fame closer. Right, Mac? Right? Mm-hmm. What the heck, man? Trade this asshead. Please, Craig. I'm sick of it. He's washed. I'd rather have Corey Kluber back, man. At least he gave an effort and showed it. Yeah, he got shit on, but Jesus Christ. Okay, so this is my notes from the game. It's a rare Trotty game notes. All right, so like this was in the moment. Okay?
That's fair.
So I was just going to say statements.
Is in non-save situations, Kenley has actually come out and said, which I think this is a stupid take, but I've also never pitched in the major leagues, and especially in a relief role or closer, and you got to have a certain fucking mentality to be a psychopath to do that shit.
Yeah.
But Kenley has said that like he does not like pitching in non-save situations because that intensity is not there. And this brings me to a point that, jumping ahead here a little bit, but like I never know what Kenley we're going to get out of the bullpen. And you said it on the broadcast, and it was something that like I've been thinking for a while, have never put it into paper, but you said it, and I was like, it's a good time to talk about it. You don't know if you're going to get 88 mile per hour Kenley or 95 mile per hour Kenley. Like, he will start an outing off throwing 88 and then just zoom 95 out of nowhere. Like, I have no idea what's up with him. Like, can he not throw 20 pitches, like 95 plus?
It's like you're picking a name out of a frickin' hat with him, but God damn it, he's got experience. He's won in the past, and he gets the job done more often than not. So, I've learned to hold on tight with this Kenley roller coaster and trust the ride when he's in. But this one fucking frustrated me, dude. Like, I don't even understand why we put him in that spot. Like, I get your take of like getting him work, but just give him a side session bullpen. He doesn't need to go see live batters. This man is a veteran. He's a future Hall of Fame closer, dude. He doesn't need to go throw an inning of garbage time here in a non-save situation. Keep him in his comfort zone of saves. Let him throw a bullpen later. You know?
Let me ask you this, though. How much of that do you think is on Bailey, like saying to Corey, hey, let's put Kenley in the 9th here, get him some work in and stuff like that. Like, let's see if we can push him, because jumping ahead here, but not jumping ahead.
Do you think Kenley wants to go in that spot?
Probably fucking not. But no. That's also, though, my curious take, though, is like, do Bailey and Kenley talk about this before the game? Like, hey, we're probably going to get you an inning in here, whether it's a save situation or not. And Kenley's probably got to give the okay, would be my thought.
Here's my thing. I think this was a Alex Cora, like, no, motherfucker, nut the fuck up. You're going to pitch in whatever role I ask you to and whatever this team needs. Now go fucking do it and get a 0. Like, that's probably the safest assumption here because Alex Cora has challenged his pitchers in the past that have known to be relatively on the softer side, like an Eddie Rodriguez, or needs that next step, that next little poke in the right direction of growth, like a
That Cutter
Crawford,
Crawford, a little tap on the ass, give him the
Yeah,
confidence.
yeah, but like we're talking about a seasoned veteran here that has shown signs of softness. So I think this is Alex, like, quietly without going up and approaching Kenley, being like, "Nut the fuck up and do this. This is what your team needs. So go do it." And
Could
he
be.
doesn't.
Again, he still has like a 2.6 ERA. And keep in mind, too, he is, like 7th all time in saves right now at this point?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's only going to continue to go up, obviously, because he's active.
It's wild to me to think about that, like, because I know he's been around a while and stuff like that, but the fact that he is that many saves, like, I forget that he was one of the most dominant closers of all time. And then, like, just what we have seen on the Red Sox, it's like, this guy?
Yeah, he's just meh. We're at the back end of his career, We're his ride into the sunset in a sense.
Let me ask you this. You had to choose between two Devils. You taking Craig Kimbrell or Kenley Jansen in the 9th?
Like right now?
Right now.
Like this year's Craig Kimbrell and this year's Kenley?
Yes.
I'm taking Kenley.
Fair enough, because I mean they're both up there, like battling for that save spot. They both have, they do the same thing. They both throw hard and stuff like that. Obviously, different pitches and all that stuff, but both have done it for a long time. But I think I would have to go Kenley in this spot, just because like Kenley at the beginning of the year was very frustrating, as we know. But as I mentioned last episode, the Athletic article that came out that talked about how Bailey sat there and made a mechanical adjustment with him right there on the spot.
Yeah, just by putting his hands on his hips.
Yep. And just for the most part has been, I don't want to say lights out, but it has been very effective in that role. But on a positive side, this is what, the last year we have of Kenley?
Yeah.
Last year we have, of course, Martin. Like, guys that are aging out, and plus we get Liam Hendricks back hopefully by like late July, early August or whatever it was, Michael Fulmer and stuff like that. So we have 2 old guys to come in and replace them.
Indeed. On to game 2, baby.
I was gonna say, do you have any other game 1 notes?
Negative.
So I have small amounts of notes for games 2 and 3 because, again, busy weekend and whatnot.
I got a decent amount.
Good. I love it. Game 2, 4-2 win. Just to recap some of the stuff. Coop Criswell pitched very well for the
Real
most
quick,
part.
before you get into it, the Red Sox wore their City Connects for this game. So, quick little background, 30-8 record going into that game when they're winning the City Connect uniforms. This is kind of like a little statement, I think, to from the Red Sox, like, must-win game. Let's have that mentality. We're going to go out there and get a dub. Because if you lose to the Washington Nationals there at home, ooh, baby, a little scary times in Fenway. But proceed.
It's bedtime, apparently. I was gonna say this Nats team, though, like, before I guess we jump into game 2, just extremely boring. Like, obviously they have CJ Abrams, who's like an exciting young player, but like Eddie Rosario, who's washed out, like Jesse Winker, who's having a little bit of a renaissance with them, but still older guy. Like
Joey Meneses is having a really slow start.
Yeah, Joey Meneses is having a slow start. Keibert Ruiz having a very slow start. Like, their team is just not exciting. Like, their pitching staff, don't get me wrong, like Jay Irvin or whatever the hell his name is.
He showed himself.
He looked pretty good. Like, their starting pitching is not that bad. And keep in mind, too, they have Josiah Gray on the IL still and stuff like that. So, like, what they've done is impressive. And Lane Thomas is even out. But again, just a very boring team, and that's what I think made this series so, like, even though we won. 4-2 win. Coop goes 5 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 9 Ks. Did allow 2 home runs. Top of the second, Meneses hits a home run to make it 1-0. Bottom third, Willier hits a home run and Will Fleming. I was driving to a friend's house, so I'm listening to the radio. My poor wife now has to listen to every Sox game in the car, but when Will Fleming's on the call, it is electric. And let me tell you, I'm driving and I hear this. I hope it doesn't pop up on the screen. If it does, I apologize because I had to record it. Now, just to give a little backstory here, driving with my wife, as I said, and like Tony's over here, he's talking to Will, and he's talking about like, hey, you know, this guy over here throws 93, 94 in a deep drive to left field. It's back. It's gone. Like, just listen to the beginning part of this again. Will Fleming, like, just electric on the radio. And hot take here, I just made a trade in my fantasy baseball league, so I was going back and forth with one of the guys. And this is his take. He says, my biggest issue with the Sox is Will Fleming, and I am enjoying a night off from the worst play-by-play guy in the history of the game tonight. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's one of the only reasons I'll listen to the freaking radio is because of Will Fleming. And he said, Will Fleming never shuts up like the kid who was trying to impress the cool guys, but it doesn't work. And the constant over-pausing nauseates me to the point that I shut off the radio in disgust and watch the game on RotoWire. Over-pausing as in, the count is 3-2 on Raffy, who was looking to put the Sox ahead for the first time tonight. And I had to fight back with him and tell him that Lou and Will's chemistry when they're on the radio together is absolutely electric. Like they kind of like shit talk each other. They have some fun. They go back and forth and they provide some good insight there. But Will Fleming, electric on the radio. Love him.
Gotta love his calls, man.
Mm-hmm.
We'll miss him once he's gone.
But yeah, so Willier hits a home run, ties at 1-1. Obviously, we're going to go into notes after this, but this is just a quick recap. Top of the fifth, Eddie Rosario then hits a home run. He was on fire this series, made it 2-1. And then bottom of the fifth,
that shit was soft. That home run was fucking soft, man. That was almost another Fenway fly.
Duran doubles, Hamilton scores, make it 2-2, and then bottom of the eighth, Devers doubles, Romy Gonzalez scores, O'Neill also scores to make it 4-2. Some notes on here. Game 2. I said the wind is our enemy. Should be 1-0. Willier Bree, who absolutely smoked one to center field.
Yeah,
camera guy did not, tease me there a little bit. Like he did a good job with it because like it could have gone either way. And you said it best too. He's like, if the wind's just blowing in any other day, that's a home run. Or time of night, that's a home run.
Without a doubt. Sucks because you should have had to do that a game.
Yeah, right. Joey Meneses homer makes it 1-0 wash. Then I said send David Hamilton to the abyss. I'm pretty sure he made a dark error.
Yeah, he sucks.
And that's really all I had in game 2 for notes. Because, again, I was listening on the radio and then went to a friend's house and was just watching the MLB like, here comes the pitch.
All right, baby.
What do you got?
Strap on. Oh, baby. Coop's on today. A lot of whiff with the changeup early here in the first inning. 2 Ks for Coop. What is this? Who's this guy? Pow, indeed. Coop with the Ks? Oh, my God. Abreu hits the piss out of baseballs. That first AB warning track out is a bomb any other day where the wind isn't blowing in towards home plate. Sucks because that was stroked. Next one.
Your game notes
voice is electric. Coop. At least it was just a solo shot. Meneses is good. And that was on a changeup. First home run for Meneses on the year. I heard from Uke there. So
that it was.
God damn it. 5 Ks through 3? Coop, you dirty dog. Come on, man. Stop it. Stop it, man. Willier should have 2 home runs now. This was my next note. This was after his actual dingo. He was so mad at the wind on that first one. He said, "No, no, papi, I pulled this time." And then, boom, dingo. He's so good. Rookie of the year back on for Abreu. I think we can both agree to that.
The hot streak's coming. He's been hot at the plate lately. I think we're going to see another week to week long stretch of it.
He's been riding at this 250, 270 batting average the last 2.5, 3 weeks. I think it's only a matter of time. Holy changeups, Coop, you nasty, was another next note of mine because dude, at this point he was at 7, 8 strikeouts. Next note, not a Nationals podcast, but this Jake Irvin guy is pretty damn good. 5 of the last 7 starts, 6+ innings pitched for this young man. And he had us relatively off balance for most of the day. I mean, he looked the part.
He threw a heavy fastball.
Had a lot of spin.
Had a lot of spin on it. And he's got an interesting delivery where he stepped forward and then turned and then went into it. But him and Coop both worked quick. Big time. And you like that as a viewer of the game. That was a really quick one. That Rosario home run, that was kind of soft. His I don't know if you saw his celebration, but his celebration was in the Fenway dugout on the pole, and he was grinding on that thing and acting like it was a stripper pole. And Eddie Rosario, sir, I just wanted to inform you that children are watching, and they look up to you. Keep it clean.
More importantly, that's the away dugout, and you don't know who or what has been done to that pole. So I really hope that you bathed yourself thoroughly afterwards and cleaned your pants and didn't touch anybody afterwards, because again, the Lord only knows what has been done to that pole. Anyways, thank God Duran was up with runners in scoring position. The only guy on this roster that seems to do it in this spot on the squad on a consistent basis. He's 2 for 2 in the ball game right now, and he's 364 with runners in scoring position. Gotta love it. Next note, Coop had 9 Ks. 9.
Yes,
My God. Guy is an ace. Next note, Victor Robles, what the fuck you doing? I mean, thank you.
It was about to see some bad defense.
Yes. Next one, we got Chris Martin in the game, and I'm raging Silver Fox, PFP for your life, big fella. My God, bigger they are, the harder they fall. And it was a rocket line drive right on his glove side, right by his freaking heart, his 6'7" self. And bang, he falls to the ground while catching it, and just him in the dugout had a great laugh over it because of how unathletic it looked and how scared he was. But it was all
the man's
time.
50 years old. You gotta give him a little break there.
Dude only has so much time off of his oxygen tank, and he made the most of it right there. Next note, dude, why did the Nats manager walk Tyler O'Neill with a runner in scoring position with 2 outs to get to Rafael Devers? That is a wild move for what T.O. has done in runners in scoring position this year versus what Rafi has done.
Who was pitching at the time?
Fuck if I know, dude.
I wonder if it was a lefty up, maybe. They had a lefty on the mound and they thought the lefty.
Regardless, man. Regardless, it's the best hitter on the Red Sox that you're intentionally walking to get to. Yeah, that's crazy. CJ Abrams, eat that throw next time, young blood. Learn from that. I respect CJ Abrams. That guy is a stud right now, and he's going to be a top 3 shortstop in the next 2-3 years in this league. He shows
I don't know if it's sustainable.
So much. I think it is, man.
The power. If he goes 1540, 1550,
I think you get him in a different ballpark. You get him in a different ballpark. It turns out to be a little different. I don't know if he's going to be a Nat for a crazy amount of time. I have a couple of notes left. Hey. Oh, God, Kenley, please. We're in the connects, bruh. Please. Holy shit. Kenley 1, 2, 3. We're so back. 31-8 all time in City Connects. Vibes are right. That concludes my game 2 notes.
It. Kenley did go 1 inning pitch with 2 Ks and got the save. Second night in a row pitching.
Yes, indeed.
And to
Gotta
jump
love
ahead,
that.
but not jump ahead, he obviously, as we know, and for those of you watching should know, pitched for a third night in the row. First time all season he's done that.
Yes, sir. Very admirable from an individual that a lot of people, including an individual in this podcast, was questioning severely on his effort level at the beginning of the year when he was dealing with his back.
He gets the job done. As frustrating as he can be and stuff like that, keep in mind 2 years ago in 2022, like
Yeah.
we were begging for a closer. 2021, we were begging for a closer. We did not
Yeah,
have
man.
sustainability, or
We didn't even have one.
yeah, we didn't have one. So it's nice to have a guy that we know is going to get the ball in the ninth, and I don't know, 7, 8 out of 10 times get the job done.
9 out of 10, man. And we'll take that.
So as long as he keeps doing his job, he will be in a good presence on this podcast.
No doubt. Do you have any game 3 notes?
I have a few, and it
Do it up.
starts in the top of the ninth, but I did actually go back and kind of rewatch this game a little bit here.
All right.
But again, starts in the bottom of the ninth. I said Kenley makes me nervous here. So actually, you know what? Before I even just jump to the bottom of the ninth, 3-2 win by the Sox makes him 21-19, puts him in third place. Bayo's returned to the mound, 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 1 K. Did lit up a home run, threw 68 pitches in his first outing for 38 strikes. My question to you is, how do you feel about Bayo and his, I don't want to say inability, but I'm going to use that word, inability to strike out hitters, like a pitch to contact guy? How do you feel about that for a guy who could potentially be in the ace or the next Pedro Martinez or whatever it may be?
I don't think it is very fair for individuals to compare him to Pedro Martinez. Very completely different pitchers. Pedro had a lot more swing and miss in the tank here, and clearly that's not with Bayo. Completely different philosophies, I feel. Bayo knows what he is. He knows he's going to be a weak contact ground ball pitcher with the sinker and changeup work and that breaking ball in between. And I'm okay with it. And I quite honestly don't view, or I don't see Bayo as our ace or future ace. I really don't. I see him as we know what we're going to get out of him every single time in that third man of the rotation spot. That's what we need this guy to be. We don't need him to be the ace or a Chris Sale or a Pedro Martinez or a frickin' Roger Clemens, man. We need him to be himself, and that is a pitch to contact guy that can go 6, 7 innings here, limit damage, and keep us in baseball games, giving up anywhere between, 2 to 4 runs a game through 6, 7 innings. Like, that's all we really need there. We have the bullpen to help him out with the back half of the games, and I mean, giving up only 2 to 4 runs in 6, 7 innings, you would think that your offense would be able to hold down your starting pitcher there.
One would think.
Yeah, with at least a no decision. But this offense has proved it wrong.
My thought on it is, I agree with you. Like I'm okay with whatever Bayo turns out to be. Like whether he turns out to be like an Eddie Rodriguez type who's not quite front of the rotation, but like a really good number 2 or 3 type pitcher, and especially for what we're paying him, like it's really not that much.
It's nothing
But
nice.
I just feel like Bayo should be able to strike out more hitters with the way his pitches move, the way he sequences pitches, and the way he does stuff in the laboratory with Professor Bailey, and how hard he throws. Like, I feel like the swing and miss is there. I just don't know if we have truly found that out pitch, because I feel like he relies very heavily on his sinker, and which is great because again he's a pitch to contact guy, so he knows who he is and stuff like that. I just wonder if there is more room to develop, and same thing I had talked about with Halk at one point at the early parts of this podcast, is to develop, like truly develop a, like, because his changeup is supposed to be his next best pitch and stuff like that. Yeah. And I feel like when you are sequencing that with a sinker, which they're in theory going to break the same way, just one might break more, and obviously the velo is going to be different. That's where you're going to see a lot of those weak rollovers. So like if we can develop that third pitch and get that slider per se to be a plus pitch or even just an above average pitch, I think we could potentially see more Ks. Like I guess in short, long story short, I would like to see him strike out more guys because I think he has the ability to do it. But it doesn't like frustrate me or anything that he's not, and especially too because we've been playing solid defense for the most part, as long as David Hamilton's not out there.
Correct. Would I love more strikeouts? Of course.
Exactly.
Am I angry that he's pitching a contact and getting weak outs? Not angry at all. Keep doing you, Bayo. As long as you're getting the job done, limiting damage, and give us an opportunity to win. I don't care how you get outs. You could throw that with your foot over the plate. As long as you're getting outs and weak contact, keep doing it.
The thing that scares me about contact, though, is it's still contact at that point. Because, like, in theory, you can't hit the ball if you don't hit the ball. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, strikeout pitchers are intriguing because they have the ability to have swing and miss stuff, get a big strikeout when you need it. And that's just the big concern I have is like when we need a big strikeout, will he be able to get it?
Do we have a strikeout guy in our starting pitching rotation right now?
I mean, not like a Chris Sale-esque strikeout guy, but like Cutter and Houck are going out there. I mean, Coop's been doing it. In our bullpen, I mean, Slayton I thought would have been, but he's turned into more of like a one strikeout guy in 2 innings.
We got weak contact, limit pitch count, so I can maximize your games pitched on the season, guys. Here,
that's actually a really good point as you say that. Like,
it's the Bailey stereotype. It's the It's the Bailey prototype.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just maximizing what works best for them and letting them be them out there. That's
we
a very
didn't pay
good point.
anybody an astronomical amount of money here. And normally with the astronomical amount of money comes the special stuff, the 98 plus, the 102, the 135 plus graded stuff, breaking ball and changeup. We don't have that. So we got to work with the average to slightly above average stuff that these minor league contract guys to $3 to $4 million a year arms are getting right now.
Well, to your point though, too, like you said, it just might not be Bailey's thing. Like Bailey, I think understands his pitchers enough now that you say it to know that like, hey, we're not going to go and strike out 250 guys in 180 innings or whatever it is. Like that's not us. Let's stop trying to do that. Like let's approach it like this. If strikeouts happen, great. If they don't, whatever. We're going to try to dot up pitches and force weak contact.
It's almost like Andrew Bailey wanted to 180 what was going on before with Bushinator here. Like it's almost like Bushinator and the boys because the feedback from that athletics article was there were so many voices, so many cooks in the kitchen that it seems like it was way too much data driven and pitch data driven. You know what I mean? And telling guys more like robots what they're doing and what they need to fix. And Andrew Bailey's taking a much more 180 simplistic approach to it. Not really worrying about stuff plus stuff. Like you think Bailey is like one of those guys that like had a temper tantrum and like threw a Rapsodo tank out of the way or like fucking drop kick or like scissor kick to TrackMan tripod down. It was like, get that shit out of here. We don't need it. I don't give a shit what your spin rate is. Let's go hit spots. Let's go create weak contact.
I actually think he's the opposite of that. I think he does a really good job of blending old school and new school mentality when it comes to coaching. Like I think he takes all that info and applies it to these guys. Like, but I don't think he's sitting there and showing like, hey, your spin rate on this and your vertical break movement and your axis on the pitch.
And he's not giving him the iPad to be like, hey, go have fun, go read it.
Yeah, like he's sitting
giving
there
it to the coaches.
He's taking the knowledge.
Going to the player.
Exactly. The coaches are breaking down. Like, hey, your sinker wasn't breaking as much tonight. Here could be why. Like your pitch grip could be off, your release point, whatever it is. Let's try to see if we can work on that or whatever it may be. As opposed,
they don't
to,
have to do it themselves anymore. They have iPad guy too that they can go up to. Everybody has a role in that coaching
Coach
staff,
Rose,
like we talked about. Coach Rose, iPad guy, man.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a cool guy to get on or something like that, or asked to come on.
That's it.
It's a low key one.
Our fake producer, book him.
Yeah, fake producer Carl, get it on.
iPad guy book. Making a note of it. We're gonna see if we can get him. Um,
What other Game 3 notes you got?
so just continuing on. Booze, Kelly, Martin, and Jansen all with an inning pitched.
Yep. Goose
Only
eggs.
2 Ks though. But
That's
again,
fine.
not who we are, as we just discussed.
Zeros. Zeros.
Zach Kelly was not at his best. Walking a few guys here and there. Hasn't looked
Sorry,
great the
got a
past
pick.
couple times out of the bullpen, but
Nice little pick
I'm
off.
sure Professor Laboratory will work on that with him. Professor Laboratory, Professor Bailey in the laboratory. God,
Yes, indeed. Close.
it's 11:30 at night. I don't.
Yeah, we're tired. We're good.
Just some scoring details, and then I'll actually get into game notes. Bottom second,
Do it.
little Ralphie ground rule double to right field, and this was like, I think we had talked about this actually. Jumping ahead here, but this happened tonight in the Rays game. But like, just a little dinker down the right field line. Eddie Rosario coming in, you know, their second baseman going in. Joey Meneses going back on it, and just bounces in between the three of them, high up over, right into the right field stands. Ground rule double. I will say this: Raphael, little Raffy, might be struggling, like in the sense of plate approach and all this stuff, but he has some timely hitting, like to come up with those hits to have the most RBIs on the team right now. Very timely hitting. You don't know when it's going to come.
Some would say.
Yeah, lucking out. Just let's hope all that luck doesn't run out.
No, it won't.
Luck's
for losers. Luck's for losers. That guy's got swagger and confidence.
Oh, he's got confidence, let me tell you. So Vaughn Grissom and Cooper score on that play to make it 2-0. Jaron Duran goes at third base. Next pitch, Mackenzie Gore, wild pitch. Jaron Duran scores, make it 3-0. Top of the fourth, Eddie Rosario homers. It was a 2-run home run to make it 3-2. And then, like I said, the bullpen, though, was just lights out at that point. It was great. Some notes that I actually had from this game. One, OB likes MILFs. He is very attractive to Wally's mom. They were showing a clip because it was the Mother's Day game, obviously, and Wally's mom was at the game. Big green and gray hair out to the side, and OB that he's more of an ODB, an old dirty bastard. He was just like, give it to me. She looks good, he said.
Oh boy.
And then
in his cage.
Not to fast forward, but fast forward jumping. Wally was in the booth tonight yelling at Uke for talking about his mother. It was actually very funny. It was like, you stay away from my mother.
Oh my God. That's epic.
Question that I thought of during this game. Who do you think OB has the best rapport with when he's broadcasting? Middlebrooks, Uke, or Lou?
Definitely not Will. He's a little rude to him. I would say he has the most respect for a guy like Euclid. But with the same age, like similar ageness of Lou, I think they have the best chemistry. But for my own personal enjoyment, I like the OB and Euclid combination.
I do too. I might have said it on one of my notes, unless I didn't say it. But like, I was so happy Uke was back in the booth this series because I think we had Will for 3 straight series, and Will's great. I love Will, but like in smaller doses, and I feel like OB kind of like picks on Will sometimes with some of the things that he says. Where with Uke, I just think he has this like sense of respect for like one here and did it for a very long time and stuff like that, and just provides a certain insight. And then with Lou on the flip side, though, he again has great chemistry with him, and they have some fun back and forth. The only thing is that like Uke loves cracking jokes, I feel like, and there are times where just OB offers nothing back.
None of it. He's so dry. That's where we need Lou in there with those two, and it would be the perfect yin to yin to yang scenario, because Lou would fill those awkward spots, those provocative jokes that Uke makes, or those comical moments that he's trying to do won't go over Lou's head. Lou would hit that every single time. He wouldn't go over the top or overboard, but it would be more like a Dennis
little
Eckersley
zinger.
sort of personality or take into it, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the broadcast is missing a little bit more on a consistent basis.
I do too, because like it's
Get Lou
to
in
be
the
honest
booth.
with you, I was gonna say like I feel like I need more of Lou, just because the the
It's
broadcast is
disrespectful,
kind of
man.
boring.
Like they say radio's for the ugly guys. Like what are they trying to say about you, Lou? Like they're trying to hide you from the full-time glamour of Nesson on TV. Like that's not okay.
Lou's a strapping young fellow, if you ask me.
Yeah, he ain't terrible, man.
He ain't a
terrible.
terrible
He's
looking
got
guy.
that Italian schnozzle, but
He
goddamn.
does. But he
Goddamn,
also
can
too
he do
like
it?
the one thing I do like about the color guys is each of them does provide a different insight into the game. Where like Will almost tell you like what's going through a player's head in a certain at bat, pitch, whatever it may be. Uke does a good job of like talking about like, listen, as an MLB player, like you can't be doing that stuff. And then Lou kind of combines the two of them and does a really good job of that. So you're getting three different perspectives out of it, I guess you can say, which is nice. And I do enjoy the rotation. Don't get me wrong, but I need a little bit more Lou and Uke in my life.
Uke's also got that perspective of like a baseball dad involvement into it too, the son
Yeah.
there too. So he brings that element to it where Euclid doesn't as much. Side note about Euclid, where you dawn on you where he was within these last 3 weeks? A big event that transpired? Any idea? Any clue?
Was it like World Craft Beer Brewing Convention?
No. He was in person on the floor of the Tom Brady greatest roast of all time.
Was he
You want to
really?
know why? Yeah, you want to know why?
Why?
Dude, he's married to Tom Brady's sister. You didn't know that?
You know, now that you say it, I did know that, but I feel like
Yeah.
when I look at baseball players, like literally don't care about their personal life in the most respectful way possible. Like I respect that they're human beings, they're people and stuff like that, and they have a life outside of baseball. But like when we watch them, we're watching them in between the lines. I like Paul Skeens, dating Livy Dunn. Don't even know who she is, but like the MLB account loved Livy Dunn more than Paul Skeens. Like, and so to the point of all this,
Everybody
I-
loves Livy Dunn.
don't even know who she is. Don't get me wrong. Beautiful woman. No idea.
A rare nice individual that is very famous. Gymnast from LSU. So you pretty much got like the biggest power couple that is going to break the world because she's going to be an Olympic gymnast. And then you have Paul Skeens throwing 102 plus in the major leagues as the number 1 overall draft pick. And then you can imagine these two creating offspring and the athletic specimens that will pop out of Livy Dunn is just going to be insane. That's what gets the people going. And they're just two good people.
We're
Two
gonna come
workers.
back to this because I do actually want to talk about that being one of the most exciting things of the weekend is Paul Skeens making his MLB debut.
Mm-hmm.
But I just looked up who Julie Brady is, aka Tom Brady's sister, and Kevin Euclid and all this stuff. Wild to me that they're brother-in-laws. Like,
Yeah, isn't it?
and I'm not gonna lie to you. I understand Tom Brady has had a monumental amount of success. Did you watch the roast at all?
Yeah, it was all time, man. It was great.
So I watched it Saturday night, and it happened to be during the Red Sox game. So I'm like looking up, doing this like from my phone because it was on at the house that we were at.
Yeah.
Some of those people did not fucking hold back. Like if I would like,
No.
where I'm going with this though is, again, understand Tom Brady's monumental success that he's had. Kevin Euclid might be way cooler and tougher than Tom Brady. Like something about the look of Uke, just like Uke gives off this man vibe where there was so many jokes about Tom getting Botox and being gay.
Yeah.
That like,
Yeah.
I almost like, and you watch his laugh, like he was like,
Yeah, you can't even laugh.
yeah, like he can't even laugh because of the fucking Botox that he has.
It was sad to see, kind of sad to see.
Yeah, like he looked like an old guy trying to be young.
I want my childhood heroes to be authentic. Not made of
Amen.
plastic.
Side note about the roast, and again, nobody really cares about this national series, so that's why we're going to talk about this roast right now.
Yeah.
They didn't tell anybody that Robert Kraft was going to be on the roast because they did not want certain jokes being prepared for that.
Yep.
Like
They didn't.
massage ones, all that stuff.
No, it was told beforehand not to happen, and Ross still made one of those jokes, and Tom Brady, I think that was actually very serious. He was like, "Don't say that shit again."
Yep.
Like he was
And
going to
that's
shut
where-
that place down.
Laughed it off. However, there was the one guy that I saw, Tom Klitschko or something like that. It was after Dana White did his little 60-second spiel. And this guy just goes on stage and went to town. Like, did not hold back. Like, there's one joke I really want to say, but I don't want to get this podcast canceled in its 11th episode. But my God, he went. There was no fucking holding back from that guy.
No, none at all. A lot of them didn't hold back. There were some very ruthless sets, but also all-time comedy moments there. That
Like Jules was great.
yeah, he didn't hold back either. Gronk was impressive in his own unique goofball way. I
Gronk
loved
like
it.
kind of like I don't want to say ruined it, but Gronk to me was like the least funny. Like
No,
because
it was pretty
he
funny
was
to me.
he was exactly what I imagined him going up there being like, and just like him being like, "Ha, I wrote that joke on my own." And like it felt
Yeah,
like
I'm not that
bullshit
stupid,
last
assholes. Yeah, I liked that though. That's his shtick. That's his shtick.
The amount of times though that jokes got put on Bill Belichick for like, yeah, the reason I realized you loved Foxborough High so much is because that's the only job offer you have right now.
Yeah.
But
I wonder how long those players have waited to just shit on Bill like that.
oh,
And be able
and
to
I
get
will
away
say
with it.
exactly that was the funny part of like Jules and Gronk like sitting there and being like, "Oh, what are you going to make me do, Coach? Run another fucking hill?"
Yeah. It was great. And a lot of respect. Hats off to Bill Belichick, man. He's got some balls for doing that, number one.
Yeah.
And two, it shows the relationship and love that he truly had for his players when the media was so on the other end of it with him and the boys. Kind of puts all that to bed and, in a sense, tells everybody to shut the fuck up and worry about yourself. Don't worry about everything else.
Amen. And last note on this, Kevin Hart, electric as an MC.
Oh,
like
of course.
I
And him next to Gronk standing up, dude.
like Jules
What?
when he sat there, he goes, "And Gronk, just so you know, that's Kevin Hart, not your shadow right behind you." Like that was funny as shit. Like Gronk's first joke, he goes,
And that's
"I
coming
take
from Jules.
Yeah. And then Gronk's like, "I take shits that are bigger and blacker than you."
Yeah, dude.
I was like, wow, there is no limits on a roast.
None. It is all time, man. Oh, that's one of those comedy roasts or shows that you can watch multiple times and still laugh.
I still like, I haven't watched it yet through and through. Like, I've only watched like probably 4 or 5 of those people actually go up there and roast. But like, from what I saw, is like, wasn't it like a 3-hour thing or something like that? Or like
Yeah,
2.5 hours, something like that.
It was crazy.
I'm going to have to watch that.
But yeah, Red Sox baseball versus the Nationals.
My one last take in game 3 was Kenley makes me nervous in the 9th.
3 straight too.
And the only thing that made me nervous was the fact that this team loved to run. Kenley's slow to the plate, and I was like, we're down by a run, like, and then Connor Wong out of fucking nowhere, boom, gun. Like, I didn't think he had a chance with the way Kenley was delivering that ball.
Hey,
to the
Kenley
plate.
delayed his he cut his leg lift in half there on that delivery right there. It was noticeable to me watching the game. And, Rafi made a hell of a pick and tag. It was an ultra aggressive tag when a lot of these middle infielders throughout the year, not necessarily like Trevor Story or Rafi here, but the other guys like Romy at times, David Hamilton at times. I've seen Vaughn Grissom.
David can't even catch the ball.
Yes, Emmanuel Valdez too, like when he was up here before he turned into Barry Bonds for AAA. These guys were just tagging, and Rafi just full blown went NFL linebacker mode and tried to take out that guy's legs to get that out. And I just fully admire that play. That was hard-nosed. Little Rafi sacrificing his body in yet another way, not just in the outfield wall, jumping over it, trying to make a hell of a fucking highlight reel play. But he's at second base in the middle infield to finish a game at shortstop, sacrificing his body to make that out tag, to pick up Connor Wong, to pick up Kenley, and to pick up the boys for a series win. That was just an electric play when you go break that down in finer detail.
And like the thing too is like it, not comparing this to that, but like the intensity, I should say, but like 04, everybody knew Dave Roberts was going to steal that base.
Classic.
You know what I mean? Like everybody knew when they pinch ran about Jacob Youngin, who is fast as hell. I'm pretty sure he's like 99th percentile for sprint speed in the MLB right now. Like everybody knew he was going to steal, like, and it just didn't happen. But to your point though, like he's one of the only guys that will kind of get in front of it, make that catch, make that tag and stuff like that. I do wonder how much the new rules are impacting those stolen bases, like the ability, like they can't block the bag anymore and be in that lane anymore. They have to like either let the ball take them there or catch and put the tag down, which almost goes against everything we used to teach.
It's definitely impacting it in a massive way. When you add that and that effect and the whole entire pitch clock and the limitation on how many times you can pick off over there in a given at-bat sequence, it's heavy advantage base runners all day long. And if you're not taking advantage of that as a player or organization, you're foolish right now. You're foolish because there's no defense here that has found a way to equalize it.
Amen. Sorry, I was actually.
You got any other Game 3 notes?
No, I don't. What do you got?
All right. I'm going to go swing it back all the way to the first. Bayo looked good through one. He was pitching to contact, mixing it up, and working the corners really well. He wasn't getting on into that early tendency that he gets in the first inning and missing early, middle in the location realm. And that was really good to see, especially the first time off the IL. Bottom first, you got Romy Gonzalez leading off for this final game of the National Series, and I quite loved the confidence Cora had in Romy. And guess what Romy did? He had a leadoff blitz, first pitch, fastball, single. Grab them sandbags, Romy. You're not a virgin, baby. Don't you worry. Then guess what? He swipes the bag.
You're not a virgin, baby?
Yeah. He was grabbing those sandbags. He was grabbing them all over the place. He was fired up after blitzing that first pitch for a single. Then he went over there and swiped a bag. Mac, your favorite's starting to slowly become one of my favorites. Like, I love the way this guy plays. He's a grit ball. T.O., bro. This is my next note. T.O., bro. You cannot and will not do it. How do we strand Romy after the electricity he creates single-handedly there with the single on the first pitch of the game and then the stolen base? I don't get it. Fast forward here. Next note is Garrett Cooper can hit. I think we're starting to see it in this series. Next note is Victor Robles. My God, thank you for playing in this series and specifically this game because you gave it to us. Gave it to us. He drops a pop fly and then little Rafi with an absolute barrel of a double, huh? That little 3 RBI double. Bayo strands a runner. This is my next note. At third base with 2 outs after Robles' base running error brain fart, where he advanced to third base when the third base runner for the Nationals stayed home. Complete brain fart. Didn't get it caught in the rundown long enough or deep enough to the second base bag for that third base runner to make the attempt to go home. That made it 2 outs with that runner on third and with a runner on first, I believe. Bayo got it done. My next note is, I love me a good pickoff, man, and we got blessed with 2 at first base today. One with Bayo and then one with Kelly, and Kelly was struggling right there, and that was big time to get him a little relief and a little bit of an exhale. You love to see it, and that's something that you can't go unnoticed, and that's something that the Red Sox haven't really necessarily been good at in previous years, and I don't see it's no coincidence that the first year Andrew Bailey's in here, we start picking off guys left and right multiple times in games.
So I have a thought about this, and I would have to dive into this, but like I do feel like we get run on quite a bit. But granted, that could be because of the rule changes and stuff like that. But like, we picked off Ronald Acuna. Like we have thrown a few runners out and stuff like that. We had 2 pickoffs this series, but like I do feel like we get run on a good amount and
Yes.
get stolen on. So like I do wonder how Bailey kind of counteracts that a little bit more. I think we did see it a little bit more this series here because like we knew the Nationals were going to run. I think they have like 70 or 68 stolen bases.
Yeah, they're up there.
But to your point though about like Zach Kelly struggling picking off a guy, and I'm sure you know this as a pitcher as well, but like that's such like I don't even want to say like confidence booster, but like you said it best, just such a sigh of relief. Like when you're kind of struggling to find the zone a little bit, and then you pick off a guy, it's like, oh, whew. All right, like we got the first out of the way. Like that threat is gone. On to the next one. Short memory.
Absolutely.
Moving on here, and that's huge. So you know what? Kudos to the pickoff. Kudos to the pickoff.
Big time. You got to respect and admire a good pickoff move and a good pickoff play. My last couple of notes here. Kenley 3 straight games. Okay, let's see it. I'm all in. A little scared, not going to lie, but we're going to ride. Oh my God, Rosario, because he got a base hit to lead off, so I'm shitting brick. Next note. Wong! Lil Rafi! Wow, hell of a play. Very last note of the series, my concluding statement. A lot of respect for the Nationals there, making the attempt at the stolen base. They played well this series. They're a scrappy team that made a few good moves this offseason. I hope they continue to find success in the National League. Getting Robles to understand the game of baseball would be more than a great start.
You know what's wild to me? If you hear the keyboard click here, and because the thing is, like, Robles is actually like a really good.
He used to be one of the top prospects, the number 1 prospect.
But keep in mind, he's only 26 years old. Like, I forget that all the time because, like, he's been in the league
baseball-wise.
6
He's
years
like 37
already.
to us.
Yeah. Oh, he seems like a seasoned vet at this point, like Eddie Rosario out there. Side note, too, to your point, or not even to your point, but on this series, Eddie Rosario, I realize, is just a terrible outfielder. Like, he has no idea how to play the wall and left. Like, he was struggling with that.
Brutal. Makes you miss Massa, huh?
So, speaking of which, this was going to be one of the things that I was going to bring up after this, but there was an injury update on Massa during one of the games, but will not need surgery on his thumb.
Thank God.
His timetable is still TBD. But won't need surgery. So I think that's a key piece that we are missing in this lineup. I mean, it was batting 276 before he went down. I know Cord doesn't love him anymore and stuff like that, but you want to win, put Massa in. So it'll be nice to get him back eventually.
Something that I want to talk about before we go into our TTPP and our SoxHub Series MVPs.
Okay, real quick. Your tone from game 1 about Kenley to your tone to game 3 about Kenley, complete 180.
Complete 180. Because I don't understand the managerial move. I don't understand that for that first game. Keep him in his role. Give it to Chase Anderson in that non-save spot. Why are we giving it to Kenley? Just let him do a side session. He doesn't want to be out there in those spots. He's vocalized that in the past in his mindset, comparing a closed situation to a non-closed situation for himself. That was not high leverage at all. I trust that man in closed spots because he's done that before, and that's what he's going in the Hall of Fame for. Not to be a mop-up guy. Chase Anderson's been a good mop-up guy this year. Let's keep him in that role instead of Kenley frickin' Jansen because he hasn't pitched in a couple days. Whoop-de-doo. God damn. But anyways, here's my take. Tyler O'Neill's struggling, Mac. He's fallen way back to earth. And I've broken down some things for you by the numbers. And I have a really interesting take where I put my coach's hat on that I'm trying to maximize his production. All right. And I think quickly you'll start to realize where I'm coming with this. Tyler O'Neill this year with no runners on base. Ready for this? He's had 58 at-bats with a 362 average, 448 OBP, an 845 slug, and a 1.293 OPS.
You
8
want to
homers,
pull
4 doubles,
You want to pull
8
a
RBIs.
Phillies. You want to put Kyle Schwarber at the top of the lineup.
Yep, I want Tyler O'Neill in the leadoff spot because with no runners on base, he is the MVP in the major leagues. And when you have runners on base, here are his numbers. This isn't even runners in scoring position because that gets significantly worse. Runners on base this year, 52 at-bats, 1 homer, 2 doubles, 5 RBIs, 8 hits, 8 walks, 22 strikeouts. A 154 average, a 517 OPS, and a 267 OBP. Throw up worthy. You want to fully blow chunks? Here you go. Runners in scoring position this year. 24 at-bats, 12 strikeouts. He's striking out at a 50% clip with a runner in scoring position this year, Mac. 1 home run, 0 doubles, 3 RBIs, 3 hits, 2 walks. 442 OPS, 192 OBP, 125 batting average. Put him in the leadoff spot and let him start off the game with no one on base to give him a very comfortable at bat. You move him there. You move Duran to the 2-hole so he can have one at bat to learn what this pitcher's kind of attacking Tyler O'Neill with a little bit. See what that fastball is looking like. Then you have Rafi in the 3-hole. Willier in the 4-hole. That seems pretty realistic. All right. Or if, Jarren Duran stays this average 260, 267 guy, maybe you want to think about dropping him to like the 6-7 spot in the order, a secondary 8-9 hole with little Rafi. That seems like it would play more, and Jarren Duran gets more fastball counts and is probably pitched to a lot more.
So hear me out here. As you were doing that, I was writing a lineup. It gets a little tricky at the bottom, and this is where Core's in the position that he's in, and we're here recording a podcast that, whatever. Tyler O'Neill leading off. Wilyer Abreu batting second. Only because this happened tonight, I kind of fuck with it while he's hot. Connor Wong in the 3-hole. Devers 4. Vaughn Grissom 5. Duran 6. Romy 7. Duran 6. I only have 8 spots here written down so far. Duran, then Romy, then Little Raffy. And then whoever the hell is that.
You got to just put Garrett Cooper or Dom Smith in there at first base.
That's right. So one of them.
So they're probably 7 or 8.
So, yeah, that would depend on if you want to split up those righties
down.
too.
Yeah,
because like the thing
down there in Romy.
Vaughn Grissom's bat, I'm not worried about. Again, didn't really have a spring training. Like he's going to come around. I'm not that worried about him.
Hopefully. But
like I wouldn't even mind Duran batting after Devers and going with the old school mentality of a 1 through 4, like a legit 1 through 4, where like Tyler O'Neill's kind of a speed guy, but then you have like run producers between Wilyer, Wong gets on base, then you have Devers who can drive him in, then you have Duran right behind him who can, get on base.
1
and then
through
you have
4A, 1 through 4B.
Exactly. The tough thing though is if you get Devers on ahead of Duran, then Duran could be
pigeonholes.
But
you have the expectation. You have the expectation with Rafi that's going to be an extra base hit if he's in front of Jarren Duran there normally, you know?
But like, honestly, you could probably have a pretty decent 1, 2, 3, 4 with O'Neill, Wilyer, Wong, and Devers, I think, as your 1, 2, 3, 4.
And then when and if Wilyer fizzles out, you can flip-flop him and Duran there in that 2 and 5 slot right there.
Exactly.
And
that would be an interesting lineup.
And you get Jarren Duran, who is our best runner in scoring position hitter, batting well above 325 with that right now on the year. More opportunities with runners in scoring position. Him in the leadoff spot with Romy Gonzalez batting 8th and Rafaela batting 9th is not providing him many runners in scoring position opportunities. Put him in the spots that he's showing that he has a lot of success and that he thrives in, by putting him a little lower in the order, and put Tyler O'Neill into a spot where he's shown he could potentially thrive with no runners on base. That's an MVP. Again, man, he's got a
It's tough to win an MVP with 40 RBIs. and 40 home runs.
1.293 OPS with nobody on base through 58 at bats. That's 8 homers, 4 doubles. That's insane.
As a hitting guy, I wonder if the pressure of like, I wonder how much he knows those numbers, like him struggling with runners on base and stuff like that, and if that creeps into his mind into an at bat,
Very well
or
could.
if it just these are things that I would love to pick the brain about with like a major league hitter or pitcher or
Me too.
whatever it may be.
Me too.
All right, interesting take. I like it though.
Thank you.
The second you said I was going to pick up on it quick, and I was like, you want to go Kyle Schwarber leadoff type thing, like.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly,
Started
go
with a
set the
bang.
tone. Start it with a bang. Start off with a leadoff fucking home run, like just fucking every game.
And you'd be lying if you can't see Tyler O'Neill being like, fuck yeah, I want to do that. Let's do it. I can be a leadoff guy for the Boston Red Sox. Let's do it tomorrow.
I think he would thrive in that role. And on top of it too, like he's not slow. Like he can run a bit.
He can
like,
go
he's
swipe bags
athletic.
too. He's an electric spark plug right there.
Yeah. You know what? That's the best take here. Tyler O'Neill for leadoff. T.O. T.O. Tanks number 1.
Amen to that.
With that, let's go into our SoxHub Series MVP, our SHS MVP. I had to think about that for a minute. Sound it out, as Gronk would say. Who do you got for this series? Because, like, again, kind of very boring, like, series. Like, who do you got for your MVP?
I mean, we could go comical here and pick Victor Robles because he gave us that series in the finale with 2 bonehead moves with that drop pop fly with 2 outs and then the base running error that really took away a potentially catastrophic injury. Catastrophic inning for Brian Bale. But we're going to play it serious here, despite it being a boring series and it being a very difficult pick. I don't want to go pitcher move here because we did that last week. And quite frankly, I didn't think any of the starting pitchers or relievers did anything special enough in order to hold that merit like Cooper Criswell did last week. I'm going to go with a guy that, the Washington Nationals wanted to face and thought that they could get out. And he walked up there with a grin with 2 pounds of Redmen wrapped in bubble gum in his lip. Said, "Oye, papi, you want to see me in here? Uh-huh. Here's a double, papi. Take that, game over." Rafael Devers is your SoxHub Series MVP right here for his 8th inning 2 RBI double to take the 4-2 lead after they decided to walk Tyler O'Neill with runners in scoring position to face the man himself, Rafael Devers. That's laugh out loud comedy. Not only that, but he made multiple eye-popping defensive plays in this series as well that were big time in the moments and spots.
So I was really struggling with this pick. And you talking about Devers was somebody that like I had thought about, but I was like, he might be the obvious choice and stuff like that. But like you look at his numbers, he only had 3 hits in 11 at bats, but there were 2 doubles, and he did have the pivotal RBIs in the bottom of the 8th in game 2. So like that was huge. And that's something that I like to take into account when it comes to this, like big moments, rising to the occasion, all that good stuff. And to your point too, played phenomenal defense this series. But like the other guy I kind of want to give it to, but it's really tough because he only played in 2 games, is kind of Wong. Like, just he hit the ball well. He had 2 hits in the 1 game that he started. The other game he did go over. But him throwing out the runner to win the series, like I feel like is just as big as hitting a 2-run double to win the series. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I saw what you saw with Connor Wong, but if he played in the 2 wins instead of the loss and a win, it would hold more merit for me. But the positive stuff kind of gets null and voided by the loss in game 1, unfortunately, for my mind.
You know what? I'm with you with a participation trophy being handed out to Connor Wong. Not a second
Absolutely.
place one or anything like that, but
There's
a valiant effort,
participation.
um,
Just a We See
valiant
You
effort
award.
trophy. Yeah, like a
We see you, keep
we
grinding.
see you, we see you. But you know what? I'm gonna go with you here on Devers. Like without that double in the eighth, we don't win game two. And and again, the defense, like they try to put pressure on us. They dropped down a few bunts and stuff like that, and he made the plays that he had to make. So you
Damn
know
right.
what? Let's do it. We are gonna go with Rafael Devers as our SoxHub Series MVP.
Great job, Raffy. We're proud of you.
Keep it up. Now let's just hit a few more home runs, and the boys will be good. Now, last series that we won, we had a TTPP, and it was an electric start. However, according to YouTube, you're not allowed to use AC/DC songs, and it's very sad to us because that was an electric beginning, electric intro. We were all about it. So we flipped the tune here, flipped the script. I did. We're going to go along the lines of the Bullet Slider Whiskey. So, ladies and gentlemen, this week's TTPP Trotty's top pitching performance brought to you by the one, the only, the zesty lefty slinger himself, Trotty Too High.
Precision craftsmanship, smoothly savored and violently delivered. This week's TTPP is no other than someone you've been becoming familiar with here, brother. It is no other than that 89-mile-an-hour sinker ball slinging, that pronating changeup throwing, that sweeping pitcher, Cooper Criswell. God damn. Congrats to Coop on back-to-back, yes, back-to-back TTPPs. Good Lord Almighty. Cooper Criswell looks exquisite in those City Connect uniforms. The mustache is just 10 times more pronounced. It's like you can see the Bullet Slider Whiskey just dripping off of it. Ugh. Besides that one changeup, brother, that he gave up that dingo on, it was absolutely flawless. 39% whiff rate on 30 thrown. The cutter was low-key nice as well. 10 thrown, that was 13%, with a 40% whiff rate and a 43% chase rate. He controlled the strike zone and around the strike zone and just simply attacked these jumps. Had one walk, 66% strikes. 79 pitches through 5 innings of work. I personally thought he could have gone more. 15.8 pitches per inning with a near 2 Ks per inning average is bonkers, brother, for a guy that is just about dead last in pitching velocity in the major leagues. Coop and his mustache are about to prove to this world a velo is mandatory for success is a crock of shit. Coop for Cy Young, motherfuckers. Let's go.
Bold take by Skipper Lou Brown there.
Oh, God, man. But in all
First off,
seriousness, Coop is just dicing.
he's hot right now, and honestly, no other than the one, the only, the Cooper Criswell, like $1 million signing outside of Lucas.
Our $1 million baby.
Like that's our $1 million baby right there. He's out there slinging sweepers left and right, throwing his change piece down and away, getting dudes to swing. And to your point too, commanding the strike zone, which is huge. Like he doesn't miss often. He works quick and all this stuff.
This
Now,
is like what we wanted, like Corey Kluber to be last year, for Christ's sake.
This is all we needed.
Similar
Corey Kluber to be.
profile.
Very similar
Similar
profiles. Like similar movements too, similar movements on the pitches and stuff like that. And just Coop, like the funny thing about Coop too, doesn't even like you'll look at him, just a regular ordinary guy. Like you look at Tyler, he looks like he plays a professional sport.
Mm-hmm.
Be right back. Just had my door opened. Panics for a minute there. I got up and we have ADT security and it's like back door open and it's 12 at midnight here and I was like, what the hell? And it's just Haley. She's like, it's fine, go back to bed. But yeah, like Coop just looks like a regular human being. Like does not look like a guy who's going to go out there and dominate, yet here he is. Like I feel like other lineups don't take him seriously when he's on the mound, and then he just goes out there and throws fucking boomerangs and frisbees for pitches, and they're like, shit, like what the hell did I just
snooze
see?
on him, and then real quick it's the 6th inning, and they're down 3-1, and they're like, fuck.
Yep.
This guy just diced us real quick.
I had asked you this question before, so this shouldn't be a shock to you. Coop's 6'6", and he's got a very quick delivery and not a short action, but not a long action when he throws. Do you think there's more in the tank for a guy like this? And like, I understand he is who he is. I'm not asking Coop to go out there and try to throw 95 or anything like that. But like, do you think there's more in the tank with Coop?
No doubt. He's throwing a sinker, man. So like that's going to be just a hair slower than probably what he would throw a 4-seam fastball or a standard 2-seamer at. I also think that he is in the role here that he needs to spread himself out a little bit, so he's not going to go max effort and empty the tank, or else he's not going to go through 5 strong here. I think he's prioritizing command over velocity. He's working at a sub-max effort level there, a sub-max RPE, and quite frankly, that's working really well for him. I would be very curious to see if this stuff that he's throwing currently at like a +2, +3, +4 mile an hour jump, if it's going to sustain the same amount of success. I quite frankly think that this sub 90 mile an hour stuff is working extremely well for him, because how often do we see this in the major leagues from a starting pitcher? You normally, when you go look up the velocity averages for fastballs this year on Baseball Savant or Fangraphs or what have you, whatever like stat website you enjoy, he's like one of the very few, him and like Tyler Anderson are like one of the very few starting pitchers in that realm for fastball guys in the very bottom end of the league. And quite frankly, it works for him. So I don't think the velocity is needed. I know that's not what your question was, but if people think that he needs velocity, I would strongly disagree. I think that's why he's having so much success, because he knows how to pitch with it. He knows how to command not just the strike zone, but around the strike zone. He knows where to start his changeup or his sinker in order for it to look like that strike for 2/3 of the way, and then the last third, by the time this asshole is swinging, it's an inch to 2 baseballs out of the strike zone for a weak contact ground ball or pop out. Or for
Now,
today, 9 Ks.
Do you think if he went to the bullpen and was like a 1-2 inning guy, it would be any different? Like he would change who he is?
If he was told by Andrew Bailey, like, hey, let it eat, empty the tank every time you get out there because we're giving you 3 outs, we're giving you 1 inning, I think you'd see him up there at 92. But that's about it. I think that's all he's kind of got in his tank without changing mechanics or anything like that. That would take a lot more like of him establishing lower half, maybe getting a little longer with his arm path, and just overall just changing into the smooth delivery guy that he is, smooth finisher that he is, to a violent, more max effort. And that's more of a rewiring, I would say, than anything.
Interesting, because that was actually going to be one of my things, because like I feel like his engagement with his lower half is, I don't want to say minimal, I don't know if that's what I'm looking for, but like I feel like he doesn't use his lower half as much as he could when delivering his pitch. But at the same time too, it works for him. I want to make it known I'm not looking to change Cooper Criswell, but like when you got a dude who's 6'6", like you kind of like immediately kind of drool over the idea that like, oh, this dude could probably pump it a little bit more if you change some shit.
Something
But
I'd be curious at looking at is his extension being 6'6" and where he's releasing the ball in relation to home plate and the rubber. Because that 89 real quick with heavy sink can look 94 plus depending on where he's releasing that baseball and what angle that slot is at. We're gonna have to take a deeper look at that one. I'm now intrigued.
making a note of it now. Baseball savant.
Mm.
All right. Because it is 12 and I have to be up early for work tomorrow because I'm actually going in office instead of working from home. Let's look into our series look ahead. What do you got for me, Trotty?
Yes, well, spoiler alert, the Red Sox lost game 1 today. It was the Zach Eflin versus Cutter Crawford game. Zach Eflin went into this game 2-4 with a 3.75 ERA to Cutter Crawford's 2-1 with a 1.75 ERA. Eflin for his career versus Boston, 1-0 with a 6.16 ERA in 4 games started, 19 innings pitched, 5 homers, 13 earned runs. Rafi in his career versus Eflin has been on fire, 455 batting average, 5 hits, 2 doubles, 2 home runs, 3 RBIs, and 11 at-bats. Hello, Dad. How are you? Low-key, Dom Smith is 368, 7 hits, 4 doubles, 2 RBIs, and 19 at-bats versus Zach Eflin. Lil Rafi, very small sample size, 2 for 3. Cutter versus Tampa had a 3.75 ERA in 6 games, 3 games started, 24 innings pitched, 10 earned, 2 home runs, 29 Ks to 5 walks. Hold this lineup at bay relatively well, besides Ahmed Rosario with a 375 batting average and 8 at-bats against Cutter. Ahmed Rosario was the guy that did damage most consistently tonight in Game 1 against the Red Sox, unfortunately, here in this loss. Mac, it was a 5-3 final, correct?
That is correct.
5-3 loss in Game 1. Tomorrow, Game 2, 7:10 start, we got Savali versus Pivetta. Savali is 2-3 with a 5.88 ERA this year, and Pivetta is a 1-2 record with a 3.60 ERA. Savali versus the Boston Red Sox in his career is a 1-1 guy with a 4.80 ERA in 3 games started, 15 innings, 1 home run, 8 earned runs.
Duran owns Savali with an 800 batting average with a double, 4 hits, 4 for 5 with a single.
I love that.
Okay. Next, Reese McGuire's, Slick Dick Reese is 2 for 6 with 2 doubles versus Savali. Nick Pivetta in his career versus Tampa Bay is a 1-6 record. 4.56 ERA in 11 games, 10 started. 51 and a third innings pitched, 7 dingos to 26 earned runs. Isaac Paredes owns that ass. 13 plate appearances, 4 hits, 3 home runs, 5 RBIs, 3 walks. Randy Rosarena also owns that ass a little bit. 20 plate appearances, 353 batting average, 6 hits, 2 doubles. Game 3, 7:10 p.m. start. We got Taj Bradley, 0-1 record, 1.50 ERA versus Tanner Houck, 3-4 record, 2.24 ERA, coming off what I think is his second worst start since the Angels outing where he gave up 12 plus hits. Last time he did that and had his worst outing, he came back and had his Maddox outing. Remember that. Taj Bradley versus
Coincidence?
Boston.
I think not.
I think not either. Taj Bradley versus the Boston Red Sox. Only sample sizes from last year. He had a 2-0 record against the Red Sox with 10 innings pitched, 5 earned, 4.5 ERA. No one's really faced Bradley enough in this lineup for me to have notables. Houck versus Tampa in his career is an 0-3. 0-3 record. 7.47 ERA in 5 games, 3 started. 15 and 2/3 innings pitched, 13 earns, 2 home runs. The last 2 outings Tanner has had against Tampa, 8 innings, 10 earned out of those 13.
We're seeing a different Houck, though, now.
8 Ks, 4 walks, 15 hits in those 8 innings versus Tampa. Lau is 3 for 3. Diaz is 2 for 5. Rest of the lineup is poo-poo versus Tanner. Guys that did damage in the past appear to be out of Tampa, thankfully. And yes, we have a different Tanner Houck now. Game 4, the finale of the series. We got Littell. He's 2-2. 2-2. 3.02 ERA versus Cooper Criswell. 2-1, 2.10 ERA. Littell has pitched 1 time against Boston
back in 2019 for the Minnesota Twins out of the bullpen, 2 scoreless innings with 2 Ks. T.O. Tyler O'Neill is 2 for 8 versus Littell in his career. Dom Smith is 1 for 2. Cooper Criswell is 1 for 1 with a double. Coop and his mustache came from Tampa, so they let him walk. Coop and his mustache, you're angry. Coop and his mustache haven't had to face the Tampa Bay lineup in an active game. This lineup is a bunch of free swinging motherfuckers that I think Cooper Criswell is going to have out in front quite a bit. This is a nice matchup for him. Beautiful. I conclude this by going off real quick and telling you what I think for my series prediction. Initially, I thought that the Red Sox were going to win this game 1, but unfortunately the sad truth in reality here is they just lost 5-2 like we talked about. So, 5-3, excuse me. So we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the last 3 games of the series. What are they going to do? They're going to go 0-3. They're going to go 2-1 or 1-2. Boston Red Sox are about to go 2-1 in the next 3 games here, and they're going to split. They're going to find a way to split this right here. They're going to get that first AL East win under their belt. It's not going to be tomorrow, though. No. They're going to lose that Nick Pivetta start. Yeah, man. Like, Nick Pivetta is 1-6 against them. I really don't like it. Second start out of the IL. That scares me. That team is hot as well. There's a couple hot hitters for the Tampa Bay Rays that are just seeing the ball really well. And to make things scarier, Isaac Paredes owns him very well. Out of the 4 hits that he has, 3 home runs. That just scares me. And Randy has 7 or 8 home runs in the last 2 weeks and absolutely owns Pivetta as well with, I'm pretty sure, 2 career home runs off of him at least. Let me look that up real quick. No, it's no home runs off of him, just 2 doubles, 6 hits, and 20 plate appearances. But that just scares the heck out of me with Randy seeing the ball well over the fence the last 2 weeks with 7+ bombs. They're going to win Game 3 with Tanner Houck on the mound, obviously, and they're going to win with our mustached magician, Koopa, 89-mile-an-hour slinging Criswell on the bump. There's your split.
Interesting. So I was in the same boat as you that we were going to win the Eflin start just with the numbers that we have against Eflin, but obviously that didn't happen. I think we win the Savali start. I know that Pivetta, second start back and stuff like that, but he's got that first start underneath his belt. I think he comes back with a little bit of a vengeance here. As long as he can kind of command the strike zone, I should say, be able to throw his off speed for strikes and get ahead of hitters. So I think we win that one. The 2 that make me nervous, to be honest with you, my heart is telling me that we go, not my heart, my Red Sox bias fan is telling me that we sweep the rest of the series. But the realistic fan of me thinks, kind of to what you said, that the series ends up being a split, 2-2. We do go 2-1 the next series. Taj Bradley makes me nervous. His last start, so he is 0-1 with a 1.50 ERA, but it was only 1 start, but it was against the New York Yankees. He went 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 run, 7 Ks, 2 walks. That's impressive. He is a young guy. That is impressive, but we have put up runs against him in the past.
Coming back from injury, no?
Yes, pectoral strain in his pec region.
Yeah.
In the body somewhere.
Right.
Pectoral strain. So that happened in early spring training.
Titty.
So that's where I kind of have hope. I know his first start was electric against New York, but that makes
Boston lineup will squeeze those titties for him.
I think it will, especially home. I know we don't play that great on home, but the Rays haven't played that great on the road either. No. They are 6-9 on the road, I believe, or 6-9 on the road as opposed to 14-9 or something like that at home. The Littell start's the one that actually really kind of makes me nervous because he pitched for Boston last year, and then they cut him after 2 appearances and then picked up by the Rays, and he's become an outstanding starter for them, considering the depth that they lack with an entire pitching staff on the IL. But I don't know. Something tells me that he's it's going to be one of those 1-2-0 games, like just what we've seen, and that's what makes me a little bit nervous. So I think we win Savali and Taj, and we lose Littell. We split the series 2-2.
I like your take.
I guess we'll see, because the interesting stat they talked about on the broadcast here, but you had also mentioned it well beforehand. The Sox against teams above 500 are 7-15, and below 500 they're 14-4. So they're beating the teams that they should be, losing against the teams that they probably realistically should be losing against. But
Hey, Rays are currently 20-21 going into the series. They're now 21-21 after today.
But the one thing that makes me not nervous, but like, is if you actually believe the Rays are a 500 or below team, or a 500, like, are you a glass half full or glass half empty guy when it comes to the Rays? And I know the Rays this year are not the Rays that we've seen in the past, but like, I don't know, they're starting to put it together. Yandy Diaz is hot for them and continued that streak in this first game against them. So I don't know. They find ways to score, and that makes me a little nervous, but I'm hoping for a split here, to be honest with you, and then we go on to St. Louis.
Something to keep note of for this series that I saw that is a little intriguing, and I have a feeling we're going to get one of these games here. The Rays are 3-1 when games go into extra innings, while the Red Sox this year are 1-3 when games go into extra innings.
Let's
I'm
hope
a
we
little
don't
scared of
crush
that.
us.
Yeah. Couple other little nuggets. The Red Sox have, going into today's game, a plus 33 run differential to the Rays, minus 32 run differential. Last 10, Sox are 4-6 to the Rays, 6-4. Last but not least, weighted win-loss record. The Rays weighted win-loss is 17-24 to the Red Sox, 24-16.
Interesting. So that actually gives me a little bit more better hope. But the thing that I realize about baseball is like statistics don't matter to the individual. They matter in like in a statistical setting where you're gathering info. So like game by game, you never know what's going to happen. Aaron Savali could come out tomorrow and shove it down our throats, or vice versa. Like Pivetta could do the same thing. The offense could go off. Anything's possible. And that's baseball for you folks.
Amen. That's why we love it.
Men.
That's why it's the best sport out there.
It really is.
Anybody can win any day at any time.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter how big, how strong, how tall, how fast you are, how fast your fastball is. It's how you execute on that day and on that pitch.
That's all it's about.
And in that moment. And God damn it, the Red Sox need to execute in some more moments here.
A goddamn men.
And just like that, do you have any closing statements as we close into another 2+ hour podcast?
It's what we do here, is put out 2+ hour podcasts.
Consistency.
Do I have any closing thoughts? No. Vibes are meh right now. I want to see something. I really do.
Yep.
I want to see some fun. I want to see the fun back in this team instead of that clawing for every single win that we have to get. Like, let's just bring that fun back a little bit. Let's vibe a little bit. Let's have some fun. Let's dance a little bit. Let's hit a few home runs here and there. You know what I mean? Let's drive in a guy with a double in the gap. You know what I mean? If I had a real closing thought, a Will Your Hot streak is upon us. And I think we see another week or two span of him batting like 350 plus and hits a couple home runs here, maybe steals a few bases. I think that Will Your Hot streak is about to start again.
Ooh.
If it didn't already.
I like that. I can see that happening.
Mm-hmm. Any for you? Closing thoughts?
I think we're gonna see two individuals for the Red Sox really make a statement offensively here this series. And they're two outfielders. One of them's our angry lizard, Jarren Duran. He's been mid the last couple of weeks, but he gets his son on the mound tomorrow in Savali, where he's batting 800, seeing him very well. I think that's where he's gonna start off the game really well for us on a high note.
And
the
who's
second
that?
guy, Jarren motherfucker. It hits right every time. And then the next guy, just like you said, Wilzer
Abreu, I think, is going to have one hell of a series here against the Tampa Bay Rays. I think he understands what's at stake, and I think that he is an individual that would take it personal, where you see at the end of a broadcast on Game 1, Tom Caron announcing that the Tampa Bay Rays are the Red Sox daddies.
Ooh. Ooh.
I
That
hope
hurts.
that is played in that clubhouse and in the hotel rooms tonight. And they hear that out of TC. Whether it's taken out a little bit out of context or not, I don't care. That don't fly. Go make a statement real quick.
I love that. I really do. Let's make a fucking statement, boys. Let's make a statement that we are not just going to roll over in the AL East. We are going to come back strong. We are going to fight. We're going to claw. We're going to have some fun while we do it. Let's make a statement this series and then next week against them as well.
If we go 3-0 in the next 3 games, we're 3-4 all of a sudden in AL East competition this year.
And
Sounds a
especially
lot better than the current 0-4.
after this first game, tomorrow, or today technically, because it's 12:30 in the morning, is opening day. That's how you got to look at it. What happened yesterday, who cares? Move on to today.
Anything's possible! Shout out Kevin Garnett.
Thank you for listening, and we will see you after the Rays series.
Godspeed, everybody.
Buenas noches, amigos.